Session. My name is Andrea and I'm the Recruitment and Admissions Officer for the Faculty of Information. Congratulations to all of you on being admitted to the Faculty of Information. We're very excited to have you here and we're very excited to welcome you to the iSchool in September. So just a few housekeeping items before I introduce our advisors. This session is being recorded and we will be sharing the recording with everybody after the event, and we'll be sharing it with everyone who was not able to attend the event today as well. And if you do have any questions, so this is basically your session. So if you do have any questions for our advisors, what we're going to ask you to do is just type your messages out in the chat feature. We've disabled your microphone and your cameras just because there's so many people attending today, and then it'll just get too confusing that way. So if you do have questions, you can type it out through the chat feature, and I will try and moderate. Joshua and I will try and moderate those questions that come in and present it to our advisors throughout the session. And also just wanted to remind you that we will be hosting our Getting Started enrollment event on Saturday, July 10th. And then we'll also have some sessions that you can register for the 2 weeks following that event as well. So if you do have any specific course related or enrollment type questions, I ask that you please try and save them for that event because there is an entire event dedicated to course enrollment and program requirements and things like that. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pass it along to our advisors who are going to introduce themselves, and then we can get started with your questions.
Hi, everyone. I thought I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry. I'm the Associate Registrar. That doesn't really mean anything to you guys. Call me the advisor, one of the 3 advisors that we have for the MI MMST program. I'm kind of your go-to when it comes to money matters, financial aid, and also any course enrollment, course selection, course planning questions in conjunction with my other 2 colleagues, Lindsay and Christine. Lindsay, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, Christine, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Christine, and I'm also an advisor. I work with MIs, and it'll be great to meet you all, hopefully sometime this year. And I also work with PhD students. Lindsay, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay. I'm with Sherry and Christine, you'll be assigned to one of us as your primary academic advisor, although we all kind of jump in and assist each other as needed. And I also work with our brand new Bachelor of Information program. So it's a smaller cohort of bachelor students who have joined the iSchool in recent years too.
Yeah, as we get closer to the Getting Started session in July, we'll be assigning each incoming student to one of the advisors so that there is someone dedicated to kind of follow you along through your academic journey at the faculty and kind of like your go-to person if you have any questions, or sometimes you find yourself that you don't even know what to ask. So it can be that listening ear.
Great, thank you. So someone just had a brief question. Just to let you know, your questions can only be directed towards the host and the co-host, just because it gets really confusing when we have a lot of messages showing up in the chat box. So again, if you do have questions, use the chat feature, and you can either send it to Joshua or myself, Andrea. And again, we'll pass it along to the advisors. So I am opening it up now, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. Can I finish my graduate studies within 2 years if I have 2 concentrations and a co-op? And if I can't, Could you provide an estimate time length, like 3 years?
I'm up first. We're going to rotate among us. 2 concentrations, co-op, 2 years. It really depends on what those 2 concentrations are. And do be mindful of the requirements of co-op. Co-op requires you to have completed a set of required courses, like your at least your first year required courses. So if you're choosing 2 concentrations that both have year 2 required courses, now that's going to be tough for you to complete. Our recommendation then would be for you to complete your 1 concentration, go for your co-op, and then just take and make up in your elective spots, make up for the required courses in the other concentration. Also remember that our degree requirements is 8.0 credits for the Master's Information students, regardless of the pathway that you follow. So we can't really go over that 8.0 credits. So if completing that 2 concentrations and 2 terms of co-op lends you above 8.0, then you kind of have to choose 1 concentration only to graduate with. Each term of co-op is 0.5 credits. So be mindful of that as well. If you are really set on doing that 2 concentrations, then you might want to think about cutting down to 1 term of co-op only, so that it gives you enough credit space to complete the requirements of that 2nd concentration. Or you might want to think, and for that supposed 2nd term of co-op, you might just want to work as like a contract employee for your company. So that could be another scenario as well.
So another question, as international students, do we know if classes will be at least partially in person so we can arrange to come to Canada?
As of now, the faculty has stated that every student should plan to be on campus this fall. They're planning, because everything's changing every day. Our faculty is working with public health officials, and we're working with our facilities to determine, air quality and appropriate spacing. But the plan is to have some components of your classes in person, which is why the faculty has advised everyone to be here in September.
What is the average tuition for a part-time MI student looking to complete the program in 3 years?
Part-time student. So our MI degree, only our MI degree allows part-time, right? So for our MI degree, don't forget that there is a minimum degree fee associated with it. What that means is, be it a full-time student that's completing it, be it a part-time student that's completing it, at the end of your degree requirements, prior to your graduation, all of you will kind of end up paying the same tuition fees. There's essentially a minimum price tag to the degree. The program fees for the MI degree is approximately, it usually hovers between 21,000, 22,000. That's the program portion of the tuition fees. Every time a student is on campus, you are also paying for the campus fees, which includes ancillary fees, your system access fees, etc. So for a full-time student, your total tuition that you have paid out at the end of your degree could amount to approximately $24,000, $25,000. For part-time students, the invoice that you're going to get each term is not exactly, we call it the part-time program fee per term. It's not exactly going to work out. How do I explain this better? The part-time tuition fees, you're paying a flat part-time tuition fee every single semester. But what will typically happen is you will complete your degree requirements before you usually have paid off your minimum degree fee, that $22,000. So our part-time students will have a balance of degree fee prior to your graduation. Right? With the balance of degree fee will be the difference between the minimum price tag and however much you have paid while you were enrolled in courses. If we look at the cost per course for all our part-time students, so looking at the entire price tag and how many courses you have to complete, what was the number that we worked out previously? I think it was hovering between about 1,400 per course. I think it was about there. Yeah. So for our part-time students, or for students that are thinking about switching between full-time and part-time, just be mindful that if by the end of your degree requirements, if you haven't quite hit paying off 22,000 of program fees, then you will have a balance of degree fee invoice prior to your graduation.
Can I just jump in here? And even though you've broken down per course fees, we do not charge per course fees at all. It's like Sherry started with, it's a program fee. So everybody has to pay the same amount, which is the minimum is 2 years full-time. So the way the part-time fees are designed by SGS, not by us, is it's stretched out to be 6 years. So the way it works out is per term, it's about 1/3 of full-time fees. It's sort of abstract right now, but that's just how it's all laid out. So what Sherry mentions is the balance at the end is whatever the 2 years full-time fees haven't been covered by the end of your degree, which is, like I said, designed for 6 years, but people usually finish in a bit faster than that. That's why there's a balance. I don't know if that clarifies.
Part-time students are able to take 1 to 2 courses per term, or in credit terms, it's 0.5 to 1.0 credit. So if a part-time student were to take 1.0 credit each term continuously, you finish up the degree pretty quickly because we only need eight credits, right? So which means a lot of our part-time students have not paid the entire price tag by the time they graduate, and there will be a balance of degree fee invoice prior to graduation.
Okay, and another question we have is, are there a minimum number of courses we have to take each semester? Are we able to go part-time if we need to? And are we able to take courses in the summer to catch up?
Okay, I'll take this. Okay, many layers of this question. Can we switch between full-time and part-time? Yes, for our Master of Information students. No, for our MMST students. Our Master of Museum Studies is a full-time program, is designed to be delivered that way. But our Master of Museum Studies students are able to go on a reduced full-time course load. So that's a-okay, but typically not switch to part-time per se. Full-time course load is between 3 to 4 courses a term. Part-time course load for our MI students is 1 to 2 courses per term. For our MI students, are you able to switch between full-time and part-time? Absolutely. But the switching between full-time to part-time doesn't happen automatically just because you have drop-down courses or you have increased your course load suddenly. It's a conscientious step where paperwork is actually involved to make that switch. So for our full-time students, if you suddenly reduce your course load from 3 courses to 1 course, the switch between full-time to part-time doesn't happen automatically. Please do come and chat with us, to chat with one of us if you're thinking about reducing your course load to 1 course, or for our part-time students, if you suddenly decide that taking 3 or 4 courses will work better for you than taking 1 or 2 courses per term, please come and chat with us. What we will typically do is assess the remainder of your, how many credits you have left, how many more terms do you need to complete degree requirements if you were to go through the switch. And we will chat with you as well on the financial implications. Like I mentioned just now, the tuition fees, right? The full-time students pay a flat program fee, part-time students pay a flat program fee, and then there's the minimum program, the minimum price tag, I call it the minimum price, the minimum program tuition. So before credits left, what would be the best scenario, the better plan for you to follow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So short answer is yes, you can switch between full-time and part-time as an MI student. Whether or not you should do it, come and chat with us to discuss the consequences and impacts. And then you guys can make an informed decision whether or not you want to make the switch, right?
Yeah, and I'll add on, I think there's something about the summer. So as part of your program fees, that includes the summer semester. So a lot of students, you know, if you're taking full time and you take maybe 3 courses one semester, and then they pick up a course or 2 even in the summer. So that's always an option. And there's no additional fees on top of that, again, because it's part of your program fee that you're paying, it extends into the summer.
I received an email saying I received an award from the Faculty of Information, but it does not show up on my Acorn account. Is this normal?
It is, because you need to come in order for us to give you the award. Okay. So the admission awards for any of you here that received our awards letter, congratulations. The award will be in your account sometime in October.
Okay. Are there co-op opportunities at libraries in other parts of Canada available through the iSchool for summer semesters, for example?
Yes, there are. Quick answer. You would be working with our careers team led by Chioma Ekbo and her staff members to look for a co-op. Definitely, she's going to be hosting various workshops and info sessions on the co-op itself, and then how-to sessions on your resume, CV, interviews. So sign up for those, look out for those messages. We'll send many reminders to sign up for those. So please join. They're invaluable, and we've heard feedback from students that it's helpful. You know, you do need to prep. It is work to look for it, but we are here to support you. And always reach out if you have any questions.
I'm not admitted as a co-op student. Can I still apply to be in the co-op program?
Yes, the co-op is actually a separate application process. So yes, you definitely don't need to be admitted as a co-op student. And again, look out for the messages when you can start applying to the program.
Okay, one more before I send it back to Andrea. I'd like to know what the grant possibilities are, what the application process is like, and if there's any other financial aid options for those not doing thesis work.
Sorry, I'll run back to the co-op question previously. So for students that are interested in co-op, just make sure that you're signing up for any sessions or any information that our careers team sends out. There is when students are in the program, as you're starting with us in year 1 fall term, what the careers team typically does is makes a call out to all the students that are interested in co-op, regardless of whether or not you have the co-op piece on your admission application. And sorry, Josh, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, it was, I'd like to know what the grant possibilities are, what the application process is like, and if there's any other financial aid options for those not doing thesis work.
Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing this question a little bit more along the lines of what financial aid opportunities are there for our students. So for all of our domestic students, I highly encourage all domestic students to apply for their provincial government student grant, a student loan. So for instance, if you're an Ontario student, please apply for OSAP. BC students, please apply for a BC aid, et cetera, because what that does, it forms the foundation. It forms the foundation of your student financial support as you get through the program with us. And it's whether or not you're receiving OSAP, whether or not you're receiving BC aid or your provincial government student loan is an indication to us of whether or not a student is in financial need. And what happens on the back end between September to October is we receive all of these information centrally from our central financial aid office. There's a whole team of people in the background running financial aid reports. We receive that essentially in our office, and we're going to take a look at what is your assessed unmet financial need based on these student loan programs. And all of the students with unmet financial needs, what the faculty does, we will try to help to cover a portion of that unmet financial need under the PMFA program. The PMFA program is the Professional Master's Financial Assistance. We can't really help to cover your entire unmet financial need, unfortunately, but we definitely try to help to cover a portion of it, and that's automatically assessed for our OSAP students, but there is a small short application that our out-of-province students will have to complete. And then the portion that we're able to assist with will go directly to you. It's automatically assessed. It will go to your Acorn account, usually around mid to late October. So that's the financial aid piece. For all of our incoming students, we do have something called the Omnibus Awards application. It opens between August 1st to September 30th. This is the one big application that we use to assess our students for any eligible internal faculty awards. It's not first come, first serve, so you don't have to complete it on August 1st itself. You do have all the way until September 30th to submit. It asks for curricular activities, interest in various aspects. So please do complete it, and you will be automatically assessed for any of our eligible internal faculty awards. The review, the assessment, and the adjudication of these internal faculty awards can happen throughout the academic year. Some of them happens within the fall term, some of them happens in the winter semester. But the open period for the application is between August 1st to September 30th. We kind of want to capture all of your attention before the end of September, before things gets really hectic with the courses and coursework. So that's the two prongs and that the faculty helps to provide. Of course, as mentioned in the question just now, students that are interested in thesis, students that are interested even taking a reading course, you are eligible to apply for those big National Research Agency grants awards called OGS, SHRC, CGS. So keep an eye out. Even for co-op students, if you're interested in taking a reading course, you are eligible to apply for these big national awards, the value of which is, let me shock you, the value of which is anywhere between 15,000 to 17,500. And if eligible, if you are chosen as a recipient, the funds will be, you will receive the funds the next following academic year. And just to talk a little bit about reading course, I know not everybody knows what reading courses are. Reading courses are kind of like independent research projects that you work one-on-one with faculty member. I always kind of envision it as a mini thesis. Theses are long, big projects. You're working with your supervisor, second reader. There's a whole committee of faculty members that are going to support you through this. It's a 2.0 credit weight process. A reading course can be an elective that a co-op student take. Its weight is 0.5 credit. Think of it as an independent research project that you're working on with a prof. Okay, that's my spiel.
Going back to the whole PMFA financial aid side, I've heard students worry that they don't want to take on debt or anything, but you just need to apply and get assessed. And then that report of assessment comes to us, right, Sherry? You don't need to actually take the loan, but that opens up some doors, right? I believe.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, students do need to be receiving. You need to be receiving. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You need to be receiving
Apologies.
the loan. So no. So make sure you're applying for students applying for OSAP. Do make sure that you're applying for both the loan and the grant portion of the application.
And for the big national and Ontario awards, they're quite, the SHRC, the CGSM is quite early. That's usually due December 1st, the CGSM. So SGS, School of Graduate Studies, will host sessions, info sessions during the summer. And again, you'll receive notification on when those sessions are, and we advise that you join them. We usually also try to host an internal one, but much later. A lot of it is just, again, showing what you need to do and some other tips and advice, but do attend the SGS ones when they're offered. And OGS is usually due March 1st. And so you do have a bit more time. So those are merit-based awards, not just financial needs. So we do encourage those, who are, perhaps getting good grades. Even if you anticipate good grades, apply.
One thing to add about OGS, Christine, correct me if I'm wrong. OGS is available to international students as well. Is it OGS?
It is, but we usually only get one spot for all our students. So it is quite competitive. So all of U of T only has about 20 international OGS spots. And so we are allowed to nominate one student in the entire student body.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have lots and lots of questions coming in, so we'll try and get through as many as possible in the time that we have left here. But I am going to try and group some common topics here. So one of them is what happens if we don't get our study permit in time? Can we start classes remotely at first until that happens? But yeah, what happens if that's late?
Yeah, for our international students, I'm sure that's a concern right now. I think the university is working through the kinks as to what to expect, what to do for international students that are unable to get their study permit in time. There is a chance that you might be able to get started. You might be able to get started with your lectures in September if you're stuck back home for a little bit, and come onto campus to join us when you can, as soon as possible. The worry is that for our international students, if you're unable to get here in time, you might be losing some of the in-person activities that instructors have designed for their courses. But the university is still working through the kinks, because we understand there is certain in some countries the study permit might be delayed, and we're working through it. So whenever we have more information, we'll share that. Sorry, Andrea, did I answer all the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joshua's going to do the next few.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and respond to questions that have come in the meantime.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a simple one. What's the minimum number of courses one has to take for a full-time workload?
The minimum number would be 3, I think, right, Sherry? Although there's like, as Sherry was saying, if you take less and you're a full-time student without transferring over, the system won't transfer you over. automatically, but that's what you're paying for. So if you're a full-time student, you should be taking at least 3 courses per in the fall and winter. And then you have the option to pick up a couple, like we were saying, in the summer too.
For students that are on our government student financial aid, OSAP or BC8 students, these government student loan offices do check course loads. So even though for us administratively, if a full-time student were to drop to 1 course, you are still indicated as a full-time student, but what the student loan office is going to be scratching their heads is, okay, so the student is only in 1 course. Are they still full-time? So on the back end for student loan purposes, you do want to kind of maintain the course load that is reflective of your, that is somewhat reflective of your full-time, part-time status, especially for part-time students, because they're pretty strict about the course load. Full-time is, yeah, more flexible.
Okay, next question is, how many non-degree courses can we take in addition to the 8 credits?
Oh, okay. Extra courses? Non-degree courses, up to 1.0 credit within the time frame in which you are pursuing your 8 credits. So to be clear, what the university does, or one of the university's main policy is when a student has met degree requirements for MI students, 8 credits, for our MMST students, 7.5 credits. Once you've hit that 8 credits, or when you're on track to completing that 7.5 credits, students are marked as potential to graduate on the back end. Once we have the final grades for all of these courses, you're pushed into graduation. So for students that are interested in taking a couple of extra courses, that we call it, extra courses that do not work towards fulfilling your degree requirements, courses that do not contribute to your GPA. If you're interested in taking a couple of those, do pursue it within the 8 credits time frame or that 7.5 credits time frame. Okay, as you wouldn't be able to complete your 8.0 credits and then decide you want to take an extra 0.5 or 1.0 credits in the summer after. It's like, doesn't quite work that way. Has to be within your 8 or 7.5.
And so just from the way I understood that question as well, if you're looking to take like external courses, you're allowed to take up to 2.0 credits or 4 half credits outside of the Faculty of Information or within U of T, but that is within your 8.0 credits, not in addition to that.
Okay, next question is, what tasks should I be getting done now, or what tasks should I be getting done between now and when enrollment opens?
Tasks?
Oh,
Tasks?
Yeah, tasks.
Oh.
I guess you can start logging into Acorn and getting used to that system. Again, we'll be going over the whole system and how-tos at the Getting Started event. But yeah, log into Acorn, the student web system. This is considered official. This is where official information resides, like your grades. Please enter your U of T email when you get that. Keep your mailing address updated and valid. And enter your emergency contact information, very important, because we want to know who to contact. Knock on wood, nothing happens, but we just in case, right? And then when the time comes to enroll, you'll know how to just click on the courses. They aren't posted yet, so don't worry about that. They're probably last year's courses, so don't panic. We'll send out messages when it's ready to go. I would say that's most important. Yeah, get your U of T email when you can. I know it's a bit difficult right now without being on campus, but yeah.
Yeah, and you might want to start, I mean, it's early because like Christine mentioned, the courses for the upcoming year haven't been posted yet, but if you wanted to take a look at our website, we've been trying to build out some resources there for you around the different degree pathways that you choose. So you can maybe start familiarizing yourself with oh, I want to do one concentration. This is a concentration I'm interested in. You can kind of get to see the required courses you have to take, or if you're interested in maybe the thesis or the co-op, it kind of gives you a sense of what you have to complete. So it's good to have in your head when you're thinking about course enrollment and planning. So then when it all of a sudden that day comes, it's really stressful that you have a sense of what you're doing.
Also, read Andrea's emails. We send out just-in-time information and reminders through, like, email is an official way of communication through U of T, not snail mail anymore. So yes, please read Andrea's emails. And then later in the summer, you'll be switched to the current student email newsletter, which usually goes out every Tuesday from Student Services. And again, we send out just-in-time reminders, usually with plenty of time to do stuff. So yeah, please read those. Thank you.
Always read our emails, please. Missing a deadline is not an excuse. Yeah, everything that Andrea, Lindsay, and Christine was saying. At this point, familiarize yourself with the degree requirements. As a student, that's kind of your responsibility to know what my requirements are, how many credits I'm taking, what are my required courses. Thesis has certain prerequisites. There's 2 prerequisites for our MI students. MMST students have 1 prerequisite. For co-op students, there is a prerequisite, and typically you take it right off the bat in year 1 fall term. So find out which course it is, so that you will be meeting your co-op eligibility through the year 1 term, year 1 fall term. So make sure of that.
I'm glad you actually bring that up, because there's a lot of questions here about the co-op and about the 3900 or the difference between that and the individualized study plan, the ICPP plan. So if you, I don't know if you want to touch a little bit on that.
Sure. So for our MI students doing co-op, please enroll yourself into INF 3900. It's a prerequisite. Alternatively, especially for students with existing work experience or have too many electives that you want to take, that you don't really want to take the INF 3900 as an elective and take up a 0.5 credit of your 8.0 credit total, you can follow the Icpp Pathway. You meet with one of our careers advisors. They go through basically your experience thus far, and they will kind of, we call it like the treatment plan. You will follow the prescribed workshops that they will like you to follow through with in the fall semester. It does not appear on your transcript. It's something that you manage yourself at your own time. You go for these workshops at your own time, and then you kind of reflect back to your careers advisor to make sure that you have attended all these various workshops that they will like you to attend to gain that professional development, professional preparation experience that you will that you might get from the INF 3900 course instead. Other requirements for the co-op is you need to be on track to completing your year 1 required courses of your concentration. The GPA that the co-op team is looking for is the usual requirement on the GPA is 3.85. The requirement was lowered slightly last year because of COVID negative impact. We haven't heard of any updates with regards to the GPA requirement yet, but the co-op team will probably discuss and consider that requirement in the fall term as we get through fall term. So that's kind of the basic requirements for students that are looking for a co-op. You will go through fall term. Final grades will receive your final grades from all the instructors. And what will happen in January, between January to February, is the co-op team will take a look at all the students that are interested in co-op, assess whether or not you have met the co-op eligibility requirements, and they typically let students know around the end of January whether or not you are in the co-op stream or not.
Great. And also for all of the other career-related co-op questions that are coming in, our careers officer is going to be doing a Q&A, a separate Q&A session in August. So make sure you look at in the newsletter for that so you can attend that specific session. And all of your careers related questions can certainly be answered by her at that time. So I'm grouping some questions here. There are students asking about exemptions and transfer credits if they've already taken a course similar to one that is required within the iSchool.
Yeah, great question. For students that have taken similar courses before, Andrea, I'll send you our transfer credit exemption link. Maybe we can include it in the next newsletter. There are certain forms that we will like students to complete, as well as provide us with the course syllabus of the course that you have gone through. And we do need to receive it prior to we do need to receive it early so that we can assess whether or not you meet the transfer credit or the exemption requirements. For transfer credits, the course cannot have worked towards fulfilling a degree requirement previously. So if the course that you have taken has already contributed to a degree, then we cannot assess it for transfer credit. And of course, for a transfer credit to be successful, it does have to be a graduate level course. Graduate level degree program course. So not a continuing studies course, not a college level course, not an undergraduate course. I'll make a note. Andrea, I'll send you the link.
Great. Yeah, I'll definitely add it to, I know where the links are. I can add it to the newsletter. Yeah. I know Joshua probably has a few coming in. Do you want to?
Yep. So this is semi-related to co-op, but I'll ask it because it's not specific. How significant is it having more co-ops versus having a double concentration?
In terms of significance, there's no weighting on these things. We do notice that a lot of our students feel pressure to do 2 concentrations for some reason, although that's not something that we recommend necessarily that you need to do in order to be more competitive or to get any credential or anything. It's really up to you and what you're interested in. If you wanted to do, if co-op and professional work integrated learning is really important to you, it's a really good opportunity for you to get that hands-on experience. But some people have that already and they're more interested in the academic experience. So really there's no one is better than the other. Everybody kind of has their own path and whatever makes the most sense for you and where you see yourself and your trajectory. There's no one student is favored over the other for choosing a certain path where this one has more significance or weight than the other.
Yeah, when we've hosted other panels of students where they say, what do you wish, where they're asked, what do you wish you knew? A lot of them say, I wish I knew that I didn't have to do 2 concentrations, because you don't. Sometimes you can focus on the one and then take the other, more electives. And then you can always, our careers team can help craft your resume so that your competencies are highlighted. It doesn't have to strictly be reflected as a concentration, which doesn't appear on your diploma, by the way, only your transcript. And most employers don't really ask for your transcript. So it's sort of how you sell yourself in the end, right? And I would say, similar to what Lindsay's saying, be open. Don't be open to any idea. And pathway, whether it's 1 or 2 concentrations, a co-op, or maybe a practicum later on, instead of just the co-op. And a lot of students come in with wanting to do everything, like a thesis plus a co-op plus a, I don't know what. You might have to narrow it down. But yes, it's good to be open to everything, but also you will need to focus things down a little.
Talk to your concentration liaison. MI students, MMST students, talk to your program director. What MI concentration liaisons are, they are faculty members that are kind of experts in the concentration that you are pursuing. They kind of know the curriculum of that concentration like the back of their hand. They know the industry a little bit. They know the industry well as well. So is it more worth it for you to do 2 concentrations given the trajectory that you're looking for post-graduation? They probably have tabs on the industry and can give you some solid advice on that. And also advice on elective course selections. You know, we have our degree remains flexible for students on kind of how specific do you want things to get, how diverse do you want things to get. We have left that very flexible for students. And sometimes it could be a little bit too flexible, so you're unsure of what electives to choose, where do I begin? Our concentration liaisons will be a great start on that. And please also do remember that, do I go for co-op? Do I go for 2 concentrations? Do I go for thesis? Do I go for reading courses? Do I take external courses? Regardless of the pathway that you choose, the opportunities that you're seeking doesn't close just because you have chosen a certain pathway. Okay, all your competencies, all your experiences will get you to where you want to go. Taking 2 concentrations doesn't mean that you're not going to get a great job somewhere down the line. And taking the co-op opportunities and foregoing 2 concentrations doesn't mean that you cannot go for a job that is related to that second concentration that you were unable to complete. So remember that.
I'm going to continue with another question from regarding 2 concentrations. If I'm taking 2 concentrations, how many courses do I need to take each semester to graduate within 2 years full time?
It would, you still, if you're taking 2 concentrations, you still only have the 8 credit maximum limit. So as a full-time student, depending on if you decide to take summer courses or not, you'd be taking 3 to 4 classes per term in the fall and winter. And then if you took 3, you'd have to take a course in the summer to make up. So if you're not planning on doing summer, then that means you have to do 4 courses per term for 2 years. And that's for any of our options, because again, it's the 8.0 credit limit, and that's regardless of 1 or 2 concentrations.
I'll clarify quickly for non-U of T folks here. Whenever we say 1 course, we're equating it in our head that it's 0.5 credit. So 8 credits is essentially 16 courses of 0.5 credits each. So 4 courses is 2 credits.
Yeah, that's exactly what people are asking right now. Can we, so we can't exceed 8 credits at all? Is that the absolute maximum, or 4 courses the max? Can we do 5 courses a term, or is that not advised? Or is it not like undergrad where we can take more than 8 credits or the max?
8 credits is the limit. When you hit 8 credits and you have met your required courses, we push you out the door. We want you to graduate. Within that 8 credits, you can take up to 1.0 credit or 2 courses of extra courses. Extra meaning that courses that do not work towards your degree requirements. So that is a possibility. Some of our full-time students have actually completed the degree within 18 months. So that's a possibility. If you take 4 courses per term in fall and winter, take 4 courses in the summer, and take 4 courses in the fall, in year 2 fall, and then you're done. So that's a possibility as well. Not encouraged. Do enjoy school life, do enjoy your personal life a little bit. 4 courses consecutively each semester, fall, winter, summer, fall, is extremely, extremely hectic. But just to let you guys know, it's a possibility. But for students that choose to complete degree requirements in 18 months, still have to pay the tuition fees, the program fees for that last semester. Because remember, minimum price tag, and you're not paying summer tuition fees. Are you able to take 5 courses or term? Yes, overloading is a possibility, but you still need to meet within the 8.0 credits. and not advised in your first term. Guys, don't do it in year one fall. You're gonna get an angry email from the team. It's like, why are you doing this to yourself? Don't do it in year one fall. Give yourself the opportunity to get used to the courses, the online components, the in-person components, settle into the program. Year one winter term, possibility for you to consider that, especially if you have a good year one fall term. Okay, many of our overload requests that we get, while we have approved them in the beginning of a semester, many of whom have actually dropped down to their regular course load. 5 courses is a bit hectic. For students that are coming in directly from undergraduate, I understand that you guys are champions and you can take 6 courses a term. A little bit different in grad school. There's a lot of readings. Expectations from instructors, from faculty members could be elevated and a little bit different as well. Number one, get your settle in and get yourself into the groove of things. Overloading, something to consider somewhere down the line. Sorry, Lindsay, I think you had something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to reiterate that. I've been meeting with students the past couple of years. Because they do think of it as undergrad kind of course load. And I have met one-on-one with lots of students who had a lot of regret over overloading. And even like depending on where they're at with their life and everything, even 4 was a lot. And some was like, I think 3 is perfect for me and I want to pick up a summer course. So depending where you are, but 4 will definitely be a lot for you guys. So yeah, I wouldn't try to compare it to your undergraduate course load.
Even another master's degree at U of T, we've had someone tell me that, yes, it's completely different from their previous master's degree. A lot more group work, they said. So that takes time coordinating. Yeah, so just give yourself room to be flexible.
And enjoy the courses, right? You're taking this master's degree for a reason. There's a certain journey that you want to go through with this degree. So there's really no need to rush it. And 2 years is really fast, actually. Yeah, for full-time students, think about it.
Okay, I have one more 2 concentrations questions before I pass it off. I am admitted to 2 concentrations. How and when can I drop one?
Right before you graduate, when we're checking your degree requirements. We've left these things flexible for our students as well. We don't have a rule or a schedule by which you have to be enrolled in 2 concentrations or you have to drop one of them. But the absolute limit will be when we're checking that you have met degree requirements. The courses you take have to be reflective of the concentration you have enrolled yourself into.
You can change your concentration directly in Acorn. That's another use for Acorn. It appears as something else besides concentration, I think maybe under program, but yeah,
Program
you
of
can
study.
toggle it, yeah.
Andrea, should I continue?
I'm just, sorry, I was just going through because I answered a lot of them already.
Yep.
So I'm just finding another question here. There's questions about the reading course. Do you have to be enrolled in the thesis option to complete the reading course? Should a reading course be completed in the first or second year of the MI program? Is there a preferable time to complete the reading course?
Christine?
Okay, so it's sort of reverse of that. To do a thesis in the MI, you need to take a reading course. First of all, for the MI, you'll want to, for both MI and MMST and CDP even, you will want to sign up for research methods 1240 when you can, whenever that is, either fall or winter, because that is a requirement. And then for MI only, not MMST, the reading course is another requirement. And so usually students sign up in the summer because by then they will have connected with a prof who perhaps they want to work with. So reading courses can sort of be like a test run of a thesis, like how well you work together if you really want to work with a supervisor. You can even take up to 2 reading courses. Again, these would count as electives. So yes, I forget if that answers the whole question.
Yep, I believe you did. Do you have more questions coming in, Joshua?
Yes, many.
Because yeah, I have answered a lot of the ones that have come in through mine. So go ahead.
Sure. I noticed that there are health informatics electives available for MI students, but it needs the instructor's permission. What are the requirements for taking those courses? And is there a list of health informatics electives that are available for MI students?
You can check the Institute for Health Policy Management and Evaluation, IAHPME, their website for electives that are open, MHI. The course code is usually MHI something something, 4 digits. And then, yes, they do require usually a statement about why you're interested in their courses. So you do have to show an interest, and then to take their upper year, you have to take their low, like first level course as well. You can always email inquire.ischool and our team will help liaise or explain further about how to enroll in that elective or any other elective, external, yeah, course. Sorry, we don't have a direct list on our website for any external courses because it can be any other graduate level course within U of T. It's just too much and too massive and too many changes to consolidate on our website. So please go to the other graduate department to look for those.
And a question related to that is, well, how do we do, what's the process for requesting an external course to be approved?
Usually we need an add drop form, SGS add drop form, a brief explanation why you want to take the course, how it relates to your program, and a course description. You can either paste it in your email to inquire.ischool or give us a link. We will review it and usually it's approved. And then we will liaise usually with the external department for you. Some places, every department has their own, exact procedures. So we can clarify depending on which course, whether you need to reach out directly or definitely don't reach out. Like Rotman, but then do not reach out to their instructors, but then they ask for a separate form. So there's all these little intricacies that we can clarify.
Great. I have a question here that says, let's say you find yourself struggling in a class and you realize you simply don't have some of the prerequisites or knowledge or skills. How long do you have to pull out of the course without it affecting your grade? And where might one go to find, help for bolstering, improving skills like programming, design, math, stacks, etc.?
There's in every term, there's called an add drop period. So you'll be able to, after you enroll in the class and maybe not right away, but a few weeks in, you notice like kind of what you're experiencing. You don't want to maybe have a bad grade. You will have room to drop the course. So it will come off your transcript and you won't be penalized academically for that. So we keep those dates posted on our newsletter. So we'll give you guys lots of warning for those dates. If it goes past the drop date and you want to drop a course, there's a formal process to petition for a late drop that, again, you'd come to one of us to talk you through that process. As Sherry was mentioning before, your concentration liaison would be a really good source of information for you guys to talk about some of these things. They could maybe recommend resources or some of the things that may be good to know before entering the concentration. I know our various MI student groups, social media, I think there's Discourse and Facebook groups, and there's all of these things that like students are super helpful in providing advice and helping each other out. So I really recommend, and I think there's an incoming Facebook group, but then once you kind of meet MISC and MUSA, to maybe get connected to current students and chat about some of the things that they would recommend, and just connecting with your peers for those kinds of things too.
And just to clarify on the dropping of courses, we do expect people to follow the deadlines and drop within the deadlines on Acorn themselves. The ones that happen after, we do ask what happened? Why couldn't you follow the deadline in a nice way? But any extenuating circumstances, life happens, that totally is is taken into consideration, but please do try to drop within the given deadlines to avoid paperwork.
Great. So time is up. I'm not sure if our advisors mind taking maybe a couple more questions. That's okay. And then for the questions that have not been answered, we will be saving them, and we will be sure to respond to your questions through our graduate admissions hub if we weren't able to get to it during this session. I know Joshua had a bunch more that had come in, so if he can maybe pick out a couple more for you guys, and then we'll end the session.
Yeah, I'll pick out a few of the quick ones. When's the anticipated enrollment date?
That should be late July, early August. Our course offerings for the 21-22 academic year will probably be published early to mid-July. So before course enrollment starts, you will have some time to take a look at all the course offerings, decide what you want to take, and course enrollment typically starts either late July or early August.
Okay, another question is, how do we make individual appointments with advisors during the summer?
You can email us at inquire.ischool@utoronto.ca. You will catch all of us. Yeah.
Okay, and other important ones are, does U of T have any emergency planning should another wave of COVID hit Toronto this winter, well, fall, winter?
I think the university has plans all the way until we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all the way until Z. University is making all sorts of contingency plans.
And I guess one last one for now can you discuss deferring tuition payments? When can we do this, through which website, and at what intervals do full-time students have to pay fees?
Deferring tuition, you can defer tuition if you're receiving OSAP or any of the other province student loan programs. So you can defer it directly on Acorn. Another use of Acorn, deferring tuition fees. It's also where you can pull up your a detailed invoice of the breakdown of your tuition fees as well. Otherwise, minimum tuition payment is typically recommended to be paid at the end of August. So students will actually enroll into courses first before you make any tuition payment. So enroll into courses late July or early August. Recommended deadline to make minimum tuition payment will be around the end of August. Why we recommend end of August is because fees need to have been processed and reflected on your Acorn account usually around the second week of September, so that you do not get removed from your course enrollment. Because one of the indication that the university looks for whether or not a student is coming is whether or not they have made tuition payment prior to classes starting. So usually by the second week of September, if the fees are not in, or if the student has not deferred tuition yet, then it's an indication to the university that you don't intend to come. And then that's when courses gets removed from your enrollment, from your Acorn. So that's usually the time frame they were looking at. Minimum tuition payment is typically equivalent to fall term tuition fees.
And the other question, part of that was the interval of how often you have to pay.
Each term, you're not required to pay winter term tuition right off the bat in September. So you work on your fall term tuition first. And winter term tuition for non-OSAP students, non-government student loan students, that will be the recommended deadline to pay your winter term tuition fees will usually be the end of November, so that the university receives it by mid-December. For OSAP students, for government student loan students, you do have time in January to pay off, to have the funds come in from OSAP or to pay off your winter term balance in January.
Okay. And one last time-sensitive question is, if a study permit is delayed or if there's issues with arriving this fall, is deferral still an option?
Requesting for a deferral is always an option, but it may not be guaranteed, unfortunately, regardless of the reason. So it's something that you will have to make a request for and go from there. If the deferral request is not approved and you're unable to come, then our advice will be the student will have to reapply next year.
If you do want to request a deferral, just send me an email at admissions.ischool@utoronto.ca and I can share the deferral request form with you. Okay, so thank you all very much for advisors. We have a lot of thank yous that have also come in through the chat for taking the time to answer all of the questions that have come in. So thank you very much for taking the time. And thank you all for joining today's session. And we definitely look forward to welcoming you again in September and hopefully seeing you in person soon. Again, our next event is going to be July 10th. So make sure you do attend that event. And for any questions that we may have missed, we will be going through the chat questions after this event, and we will be sure to answer those questions that have been missed. So make sure you are paying attention to the new student newsletter, because that is where we will send the link to where you can find the answers to the rest of those questions. So thank you again. I hope you all have a great rest of the day or evening or wherever you're logging in from. And we congratulate you again and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, everyone.